Hello friends and welcome back to Too Many Minis. My name's Ozzy. I am back with another range review video. This is going through Mordor, which is like the biggest army range in the game. Going through all the models ever made for Mordor, I think. Let me know in comments. And at the start I'm just talking about the army lists that they can be used in, because I think that was a useful thing that I kind of left out of the first video we did for Gondor. If you like the video, share it around. It's a useful resource. Like and subscribe. Join the Patreon. Let's get into it. It's a long one. So the first army list is Barad-dûr. The only way to run Sauron at the height of his powers, and you must take him. Options for the Witch King and Ringwraiths on foot or mounted. It's just got Mordor orcs, warg riders, orc trackers, trolls, catapults, siege bows, shaman, and black Numenorians. So no other named heroes. And that's representing before the War of the Ring, Sauron at the time of the Last Alliance or something, you know, in his pomp, in his physical form. Then you've got the Black Riders list. It's the Witch King and up to 8 Ringwraiths on horses. Super simple. Can't get more simple than that. And you've got Wraiths on wings. Same list, but on fell beasts, flying. You don't have to take the Witch King in the Wraiths on wings list, but you do in the Black Riders, I think. Yeah, that's right. The army of Gothmog represents the Mordor force we see attacking Osgiliath and Minas Tirith in the movies. So it includes Gothmog and all the named Morannon orcs and Zagdush. It's mostly Morannon orcs and siege weapons. Great list for fans of particularly ugly orcs. It's, you know, you're kind of limited, but it also looks more together as a force than other Mordor lists do. They really are all that kind of Morannon orc look. Legions of Mordor represents the entire Sauron-aligned armies of the Battle of the Pelennor Field in the book. So it's essentially the army of Gothmog stuff for Mordor, but with the option to add Harad and Easterling units. It includes fun legacy things like the Great Beast of Gorgoroth and the named Ringwraiths. But most of all, it gives you the chance to combine forces. I'm taking a unit of Harad bowmen, sometimes on a Mumak. There's no option to include basic Mordor orcs, and that's a bit of a downer. That's why I recently painted up another 36 Morannon orcs, because you kind of really need them in there to be the main troop. Minas Morgul, spooky Mordor. The Witch King must lead the army, but you get full choice over how you outfit him. It's got both flavours of orc, but with spectres and rules that add ghosty abilities to the whole army, I think, or at least to the orcs. You can take Shaman, and with Legacy you can take Kardush, Trackers, and Morgul Stalkers. So it's like a fully rounded spooky Mordor list, and I think it's very strong at the moment. Minas Morgul should have black Numenorians, in my opinion. Cirith Ungol. From the top of the Morgul Vale, you can take Shagrat and Gorbak's unholy alliance of orcs and Uruk-hai. They bring basic orcs and Mordor Uruk-hai, and rules that benefit them getting stuck in together. Most of all, they let you take Shelob, a hateful spawn of Ungoliant. Legacy rules just add Trackers. Cirith Ungol, great for taking the two types of troops and representing a nice spider-themed Mordor force. The Black Gate represents the Mordor army sent out to repel the Men of the West in the movies. It's led by a buffed troll chieftain and the middling caster, the Mouth of Sauron. It can take fell beasts as well as your regular Morannon orcs and trolls. The Legions of Middle-earth book adds Shaman, but it's one list that Legacy PDF doesn't add anything to. It's a pretty tight thematic list. Army of the Great Eye. This list from the Armies of Middle-earth book is your big Mordor gumbo list. I think every single Mordor unit is available here, and with all their options. It's the only place you can take some things like Blackguard of Barad-dûr. Here's a great fun rule to represent the Eye of Sauron roving across the battlefield. And I think a lot of people are going to take this. It's fun. And if you're a fan of list building and stuff, this is a great one for you. Fell Beings of Mirkwood. I put this here, it's not quite Mordor. From the Legacy PDF represents Sauron's remaining forces in Dol Guldur who assail Thranduil's halls in the War of the Ring. Led by a gorgeous orc model in Razgush, it's a chance to mix Mordor orcs with beasts like fell wargs, bats and spiders. It's a really fun list from last edition. I'm grateful it was clung on in Legacy form. Similarly, Assault on Lothlorien is the accompanying evil force that waylaid Galadriel, mixing Sauron's orcs with goblins from Moria. Lots of non-canon orky magic and options for spiders, bats, and even the rarely seen now Warg Marauder. It's a great way of combining two otherwise separate forces. If you've got a little Mordor army and a little Moria army, you've got an Assault on Lothlorien army. The Spider Queen's Brood, again, doesn't particularly belong in any one place. It's a legacy list for using the Spider Queen profile to lead a swarm of beasts. Great for fans of just animals. It's a really different army for anyone who wants a change of play style. So those are the lists. Let's have a little look at the miniatures range. Probably the first thing to look at is the Mordor Battle Host. It comes with the Witch King of Angmar plastic kit, which I'll get to in a minute. It comes with 24 Mordor Orcs and 6 Wargs. Now, this isn't a brilliant starter set for most Mordor lists because it contains the regular Mordor Orcs and not the Morannon Orcs. They're in less lists. Also, Warg Riders are okay. Witch King's great, but what this is a fantastic set for starting Angmar, which we will cover in another video, but I think it's an okay Mordor starting list. You get the Witch King at a good price. The price of it is fantastic, 57 RRP. If you want any two of the things in it, it's great value. But as an Angmar list, Angmar starter set, it's perfect. Get it. Whereas I think if it's for Mordor, if you want two of the things in it, get it. But you might not want everything. For leaders, you've got the pretty recent Gothmog Lieutenant of Sauron foot and mounted plastic kit. It's a really fantastic sculpt. I think some people don't like the big bristling warg. I think it's fantastic. And he's got a set of real warg balls on the bottom, which is a big selling point. Sauron himself, he's a big fine cast converted from metal model. It's not very lovely in fine cast, and it was a bit big and unwieldy in metal. It could really do with a plastic replacement, but it still looks great when it's done. Just not very pleasurable. You've got the Mordor Troll Chieftain who leads the Black Gate list, and he's one of my favourite profiles in the game because other trolls have no might, will, and fate. This guy does, and he gets extra in the Black Gate army. He's just super cool. He doesn't get stuck because he didn't have might. He gets to do things. I love playing him. You can play 2 of him. You can play 3 of him. He's great. I think the model's great, even though it's an old metal model. It's now available in resin, but it's probably a bit painful to put together or whatever, but I think it's a great model. Great model to paint, great model to play with. You've got the Witch King of Angmar, who is a fantastic plastic sculpt. There's been other models of him in the past, which we'll get to, but the plastic sculpt current one, it has options for having with the crown or with a hood on and different weapon options. He is very cool. You can't go wrong with the Witch King. You're probably going to want him if you're playing any kind of Mordor list. Gorbag and Shagrat are your leaders for your Cirith Ungol list. They're slightly long in the tooth models now, but they're still okay, and they're in metal. The Mouth of Sauron, it reflects the movie version, but it's also a 25-year-old 23-year-old sculpt or whatever. I don't love it, but it's okay. It's a bit static. Shelob is a royal pain in the ass to put together. It's metal, it's huge, it's heavy. The legs are brittle and hard to pose and hard to attach, and it's a pain in the ass. It looks just fine and great when it's done, but it's not a pleasure. And a plastic Shelob with a nice Frodo and Sam would be awesome. I love the Sam that comes with it, holding the Vial of Galadriel. I love the Frodo all wrapped up in spiderweb. Those are great models, but Shelob's a pain. Guritz and Gothmog's Enforcer is a great little kit. Guritz particularly looks amazing. Those are fantastic Forge World resin models. Similarly, Snugger and Grishnak, they really go in Isengard, but you can take them in, I think, Army of the Great Eye, so they are relevant and they're lovely Forge World models. There's 2 command sets available, now in metal, 3-person kits. You got Morannon Orc Commanders set with a banner, a drummer, and a captain, and it's one of the 2 harder to get captain models now, which is nice. There's still one that's hard to get that used to come in a double pack. And the Mordor Orc Commanders set is banner, captain, and taskmaster with the whip. I think, all things considered, these are preferable to the 4-person kits that came before. The Morannon Commander's kit came with a captain with a 2-handed axe, who wasn't really the profile you wanted to take. And it also came with the Mordor Orc Shaman, which never really had a profile, so you just ran him as a regular Shaman. Not the best model. I don't think that's going to be missed much. And the Mordor Orc Commanders has just lost the Shaman model, which was not what you wanted in the Commander set anyway, in my opinion. For the Mordor plastic kits, you've got the regular Mordor Orcs. They're okay. You're not going to want that many archers. This is a problem with a lot of kits, is that the distribution between spears, 2-handed weapons, archers, and hand weapons and shields is not often what what you want to run, but you can live with that. They're relatively cheap. I think they're okay. They look good in a big horde. The sad thing is that there was a metal set of orcs done before. These ones were done with the Return of the King movie, but for the Fellowship of the Ring, we had the metal orcs, and there's 14 regular orcs in metal and 4 metal bowmen. And they're really fantastic. They've got so much character. They're a bit more stooped and chunky, but it really works with orcs. It's not like with older human models where you go, oh, the proportions. They're orky proportions. They look great. Everyone loves to see them on tabletop. I've got some from back in the day, and then I got some in one of the made-to-orders that they've done. And they've come up in made-to-order 2 or 3 times already, I think. Everyone loves them, basically. They always get a good response on the table. The only ones of them which aren't that great is there's 2 of them with spears, and the spears aren't very long. So they can almost look, one of them in particular, can almost look like a 2-handed weapon. This is just not a very long spear, especially when compared to the plastic spears, which are plenty long. With all orcs, a mixture goes great, and orcs as well is one thing where I think third-party models and kit bashes and stuff can just help add variety, and yeah, never does any harm. The Morannon Orcs kit is a kit that I don't like. Some people love it. I don't much like it, but I did paint 36 of them up the other week, and it was okay. You paint them quickly because it's all armor, really. You go black, dry brush on some silver, then add the red bits or whatever color you want to do. My friend James has got a fantastic purple set of them. Do the shields, do the flesh, and you're good. But they are kind of essential these days for Mordor. They're the bulk, the backbone of most of the Mordor lists. Cirith Ungol and Minas Morgul not so much, but the rest of them, Morannon Orcs is the way. Another plastic kit is the Morgul Knights kit, which I think looks fantastic. They represent the kind of the evil men, the Black Numenorians, the old men who have fallen to Sauron, fallen under his influence. And I think they're fantastic, knightly, spooky, evil guys. Sadly, they don't have great foot models. The Black Numenorians on foot are very clunky old sculpts. I'm not going to mention the sculptor. And I think, while they are based on designs, I think that Peter Jackson movies, the Weta studio had done, I don't think they stand up as models, and they look inferior to the Morgul Knights, in my opinion. I've seen people convert some pretty good Morgul Knights on, the Morgul Knights on foot, the Black Numenorians from the Knight kits combined with Army of the Dead plastics. That works. And the last plastic kit for them is the Warg Riders. Warg Riders kit I don't love. I don't love the design of the Wargs in the film. I think the plastic kit version of them looks worse than the designs in the film, and the riders themselves are a bit static in their poses. There was one with his bow held aloft that looks pretty cool, but I'm not crazy about them. They have all this sort of matted stuff on their backs, and it's very hard to tell what's what, and you have to sort of make decisions like, oh, okay, this bit is going to be skin, this bit is going to be sleeve. I'm just calling it, They're not wonderful, but again, they're pretty low priority to replace, even though they appear in lots of different lists. And they represent good value in that you can run them in, I think, Angmar, you can run them in lots of Mordor lists, and you can run them in Isengard. So, if you don't paint them too Sauron specific, you can use them in a number of places and get some good value out of them. Other troops you've got in metal, you've got Mordor Uruk-hai. I really like these models. I'm really fond of them. I think they have a real swagger to them, and they feel tougher. I think sometimes they're not brilliant points-wise, but I really like running them in game. And the great in Cirith Ungol, where you can get bonuses for putting them in amongst orcs as well. Big fan of these models. The kits lean slightly more towards the heavy weapons, the 2-handed weapons, but it's okay. Now you get you can fish for a 6, and it's okay, and they just look brilliant. You've got the Nazgul. Now, they come in a fine cast kit now, which is pretty diabolical. And if you order one, you'll probably get it faulty and want to send it back and get another one, or not send it back. They'll probably send you another one. The original 5 in metal, they were all available in metal at one point. The original 5 are quite common. You can pick them up off eBay. They were in the Battle Games in Middle-earth magazine, and they were in the Attack on Weathertop box. There was a lot of them around. I think the Witch King one, drawing his sword, is fantastic. Do you know what? They're all good. They added the further 4, I think, in the War of the Ring game era, and then they transferred them all to resin. And they're just, I don't know, it isn't up to it. The swords all come out wrong. Not lovely. If you really need 9, that's your only option, really. But I recommend the original 5 in metal. And for the mounted versions, you've got the 3 poses of Black Riders in metal. They They look pretty good, to be honest with you. I mean, it's not lovely assembling metal horse models in general, but they look pretty good. You can get a bit of variety out of posing their weapon arm differently. So if you wanted to put 9 together of them, you can do that. But I'd probably say get some riders from elsewhere, because you can have more variety, which we'll get to. You got siege weapons. The Mordor siege bow is a lovely little kit. I think they look great. Are they good in game? I don't know. I've never really made them work. They always get sniped. The crew always gets sniped out by Legolas. But if you're not facing Legolas, it might be fine. I think people often say if you want to have one, you need to have 2 of them. I like them more now that we have really thematic sort of Siege of Minas Tirith lists. So if you're going to put them in there, I think that's pretty cool. The siege crew is the same between the different siege weapons, and they're nice sculpts. The other one is the catapult, which comes in resin now. I generally prefer metal to resin. When it comes to these huge kits, I'm not so keen on metal because they sort of pull themselves apart and gluing them is a pain. And I think the catapult's cool. I've got it to put together myself. It comes with the same siege crew, but also the troll operator. And I think it's a great model. It's just great to have another troll body out there looking cool. Again, I'm not a huge fan of playing against siege weapons, but at least now I feel like you can, they only come in thematic lists, and it's nice to have a big lump to put on the board. On the monster side, you've got the Winged Nazgul kit. Now that will make you a Ringwraith on Fell Beast or a Witch King on Fell Beast in plastic, flying through the air. It's a pretty good kit. They look pretty good. They really do look pretty good. There are 2 older metal ones which have recently been available, made to order. The Witch King on Fell Beast has the big flail, and it's a metal model with plastic wings kind of rearing up above the body of Snowmane and Theoden. And the Ringwraith on Fell Beast comes on a bit of ruined Osgiliath and just has a regular Ringwraith on the top. I mean, I've got them to have for variety, but the plastic kit is great, and there's no need really to go for the metal ones. The plastic kit does the job. It does both jobs, and you can magnetize it and choose which rider to have on there. The Mordor Troll kit is cool, fine. You can build a Mordor Troll drummer, or indeed an Isengard Troll. It comes with a lot of spare bits. Some people like to cast up the torso again so that you can make extra trolls out of it. If you can be bothered, you could do that. But it makes a really solid looking troll. And although there was an old metal Mordor Troll, I don't think it's superior, particularly to the plastic one. I think the plastic one is just fine. You've got some nice options, and the troll drummer looks great. I modeled my troll drummer with 4 drums, like he's in a marching band with tuned toms. The other monster that you have an option for with Mordor is the Great Beast of Gorgoroth, who's a legacy model. It's not available anymore. It's a big rhino monster, like the ones that pull out Grond in the movie, and he has a howdah with a load of orc archers sitting in it. It's really good fun, chaotic game piece. It can trample, and then all the guys on top can just be disgorged and fight, and when it dies, and it's great fun, good fun to see, and I think it's a legacy model that people will continue to use because it's just fun. There is a metal kit, Orc Shaman and Orc Shaman on Warg, so if you want to add some slightly dubious orc magic in and have fury and all these magic-y things, you can get those kits. I've got them. I never use them because I'm not very keen on orc magic, but they exist and they're perfectly nice models. A little bit. The Orc Shaman on foot is a little bit Warhammery, I would say. He doesn't look of a piece with the wetter Middle-earth designs. The one on the Warg is a bit better. It's a nice model. You don't see it used a lot, but it's a cool model. The Deadmarsh Spectres are now back in Mordor. They were Mordor in the old days. Then they were only in Angmar. Now they're back in Mordor, which makes more sense to me. They are from the Dead Marshes. They're pretty close to Mordor. I think they're fantastic models. They're old metals, but especially the Elf Spectre, just looks fantastic. They're great. I think if you're running a Minas Morgul army, you've got to get some Spectres. They look fantastic. There are 2 older sets of models for Gothmog. In fact, kind of 3. There was the original Gothmog on Warg and Gothmog on Foot, which are really average models. They were done with the Return of the King movie, and they are okay. They're much improved, I think. At least the mounted one much improved with this one, with a casualty on the base and a particularly menacing looking Warg. I think that's a great model. You still see people using that quite a lot. The foot version of that is a bit puny and silly looking. Well, that is a bit how Gothmog looks in the movie, but the new one's much more commanding. The 4th Gothmog model is from the Death of Gothmog diorama set that Games Workshop made. He's in a pretty similar pose to the new plastic foot model, and that came with a Moran and Orc, Aragorn, and Gimli. That's a neat one to see out there, but yeah, it doesn't happen so much. Other alternative out-of-print models is Grishnak has an original model that is inferior, I would say, to the new one, although maybe it does capture something of his kind of rolled shoulders, hulking kind of vibe from the movies. Goroth and Zagdush are two that are no longer made, but they're excellent Forge World models, and I think people will continue to use them if they've got them, or if not, get proxy ones. But they're really nice, short-lived Forge World models. Kardush the Firecaller is kind of a controversial one. He's a named shaman who throws fireballs. It's kind of cool. The model's fine, but I mean, it's not how I see Mordor. I've got the model. He's still in box. You can't get him anymore. He turns up in made-to-orders from time to time. Razgush and Musgur are fantastic models, in my opinion. They came as a set. They're Forge World models that are no longer produced, and they both have their own list that I mentioned. Fell Beings of Mirkwood and the Assault on Lothlorien. So they'll be cool to get or proxy if you want to run those lists. They are good fun. The Blackguard of Barad-dûr are really nice models, I think. They're fully armoured Uruk-hai. They're a bit of a different take on Mordor from what we have in the movies, I would say. They don't look not of a part, but they're a bit more civilized. Do you know what I mean? They're a bit more well outfitted. They have a captain model, a banner bearer, a drummer, and regular troops, which come in 3 poses with the big old shields. They can look fantastic, and I like them. I kind of wish I had more. I think I've just got the command set and not any more. They've not been available made to order, and it's been a long time since they've been around, and they're only included in the Army of the Great Eye. So they're probably not a big consideration for anyone, but they're nice. There are 3 Mordor Orc Captain models that are not currently available. One is very similar to the version in the Orc Commanders pack, and then the other 2 are kind of wearing, one of them's wearing sort of salvage bits of Minas Tirith armour. The other one has like a mace and a shield. Those are nice models to add variety. Do you know what I mean? If you're going to have an army, big points army, and you're going to run a bunch of captains, it's nice to have variety, but you don't need them. Similarly, there's another banner pose that was in metal. Again, more variety, nice. There is an alternative Orc Shaman pose that used to be quite easy to get on eBay, because I think that came in Battle Games in Middle-earth. There's supposedly an unreleased Orc Drummer pose that never came out. So there are now 2 Moran and Orc captains that aren't available. This one, which is very much the inspiration for the character Guritz, so I don't know if they'll make him available again. They phased him out before Guritz came out because it's the guy with the head on top of his head. He was in a pack with the guy that's now in the Moran and Orc Commanders set. And then you have this guy with the axe and holding a severed head who was in the Commander's kit but is now retired. And the Commander's kit also had this guy, the Shaman, that I mentioned earlier. Orc Trackers are a funny one. People who've played them love them. I love them. They don't look quite right for the game, but they're the best bowmen that Mordor has. So a lot of people who play Mordor have got 3, 6, whatever of them, and we've all got stories of heroic things they've done despite their low points cost. I think it's a shame they're not around, even though they are pretty dated models. Some people proxy regular bowmen as them and that kind of thing, and it kind of works. The Morgul Stalkers, I think, are quite neat poses. Again, they're a little bit more fantastical, a bit more high fantasy, but I think they really suit in a Minas Morgul army. Pack of 3 metal models, and there's an unreleased one with no sword that, I don't know, there's some prototypes of it out there or something. A funny one that you don't see very often is the original Morannon Orc models. These were metal models with spear and shield that came out, I think, in one of the first supplements after Return of the King, but they might have been in the Return of the King book. I'd have to check. There's 3 poses of them. They're very similar poses to each other, and people don't tend to use them much, but they're a nice little collector's piece. There was a dead orc in the Casualties of Lord of the Rings set, which is a fine cast set that a lot of us wish we'd bought and has never been made available again, and it was stupid expensive for what it was, but it's got some cool dead model poses, and there are 2 dead orcs on the plastic Ent sprue as well. There's the old Shagrat War Leader model, which is out of production. It's also out of rules, because it had Shagrat with his big shield of his knockdown rule and all this kind of thing, which they've got rid of. It's a bit sad for people that had the model. I had the model, I like running him, but actually He didn't represent Shagrat in the book. Shagrat in the book is, scared off by Sam. I don't think he was a great war leader. I think he was a thief and a coward. The Mordor Uruk-hai have 6 models in the packet they come in, but there was a 7th model available early on, which went out of production for some reason. So some people have got them out there. It's not unreleased. It was released, but it was only for a short time. It's another nice pose, but one for collectors. For Ringwraiths, there's been a lot of other models. So aside from the plastic Witch King kit that's available now, and the fact that you can build them out of the plastic Fell Beast kit, there's also the foot version, which is available in the 9 Nazgul kit. There's a mounted Witch King in metal, which has been made to order not too long ago, where he's rearing up. I think it's a fantastic model, especially if you want to represent like Fellowship of the Ring Witch King and run him with the 3 Black Riders models. Looks great. There's a model of him swinging the flail, which was originally in the Fall of the Witch King box with Eowyn and Merry. You've got the Witch King Minas Tirith model, which is him holding up his flaming sword with the crown of Morgul on, standing in the gate of Minas Tirith. And that's another great pose. Been hard to get. I think that might have been in Finecast for a bit as well. That would be good to see that come back in made to order. And then the most obscure one probably is the Final Fate of the Witch King, which is another diorama, like the Death of Gothmog one. Comes with Merry and Eowyn, and he's swinging the flail out in front of him, hitting Eowyn on the shield. I think he splinters her shield in the movie. It's not really one you'd want to use in game on its own base, because without Eowyn there to be hit with the flail, it's at a very silly angle. So yeah, it's quite niche. And then you've got the named Ringwraiths. Now they're all out of print now. They're all still usable as legacy units in the Legions of Mordor and the Army of the Great Eye. And then depending on their individual allegiances, histories, made up histories, or real histories in the part of Camel, they are in other armies. So you've got Camel the Easterling, which is a very popular model in the last edition. His foot mounted model, and he can go in the Easterlings list and the Grand Army of the South as well. You've got the Tainted, which is a model I love. It's the most kind of withered and bent and gnarled Ringwraith model, and I love that model. And that's also you can run that in Host of the Witch King, which is in one of the Angmar lists that we'll cover when we get to Angmar. The Dwemer Lake is also in the Host of the Witch King. It's a perfectly good model. The Dark Marshal doesn't have another list of his own. He's a more sort of armoured looking guy. The Shadow Lord, again, just in the 2 big ones, Legion of Mordor, Army of the Great Eye, and the Undying, who's the one who has like a staff, as if he's got a bit more magic. And he does indeed have a bit more magic, does he? Yeah, slightly different magic. The Betrayer, who's got the kind of head wrap thing, he gets to go in the Harad list, the Serpent Horde list, and the Grand Army of the South. The Knight of Umbar gets to go in the Umbar list and the Grand Army of the South. So these guys, if you want to pick them up or get proxies or whatever, they add a bit of flavour and allow you to include Sauron's influence in those other armies. And I like that. You know what I mean? You want to run Umbar, but you want to show that they're aligned with Sauron. Here you go. You have the Knight of Umbar. They're generally nice models. They have a lot of character. And what I would say is they make, if you can get hold of them, it's a really nice way to round out your 9 Black Riders if you want to do 9 Black Riders. The Tainted, the Shadow Lord, the Dwemer Lake are pretty straightforward Black Riders. The other guys have a bit more details or whatever. Camel's pretty straightforward. You add them to the 3 normal ones you've got, and the Witch King, either the plastic model with the hood or the old Witch King rearing up models. You can make a really nice 9 Black Riders without duplication. The other Ringwraith models there are 3 Twilight Ringwraith models representing the bits in the movie where we see them revealed in their spirit world. When Frodo is stabbed at Weathertop, and those are, I think they're nice models. I mean, they're showing their age. They've got sort of oversized heads and hands and stuff, but they've got a nice twisted feel and they paint up easily. Will you use them? You might swap them out if the ring bearer puts the ring on. Will you bother to swap them out for Twilight Ringwraiths? I don't know, but if you're doing like a narrative game or something, it's quite fun. Very inessential. And the last one to mention, which I think is currently available but only from Warhammer World itself, is the Get Off the Road diorama. And that's a fantastic lump of Forge World resin showing the 4 hobbits hiding under the tree where the Ringwraith sniffs the ground and stops and almost catches them. It looks great, and then the Black Rider model can be removed from the diorama. It just sort of slots in, and you can take it out, and it's on its 40mm base, and you can run that as a Black Rider, and it's a fantastic sculpt. It's on a, it's a bit more modern than the rest, and has a slightly different build of horse. I would say it's a bit more Shire horse looking, but it's a fantastic model. I wouldn't hesitate to run that in a Black Riders list. I certainly will be. And I'll show the Spider Queen model here. The other spider models you can see and use in other lists, but the Spider Queen is only here, and she comes with her little spider swarms, and she's quite a good model. I feel like the best versions of her I've seen, people have pulled her legs apart. They come kind of in pairs, which doesn't look great. I feel like they're better pulled apart and posed differently, and I've seen people pose her on. Friend Danny, he's got a fantastic version of her posed on, I think, on a tree or on a rock sort of thing, like up off the base, and they can look fantastic. So it's not a bad model at all, and it's quite creepy with this kind of lumpy weirdness. I just thought of some more. There were 2 Morgul Knights in metal. You could make some different poses from them by swapping around the hands and stuff, but basically there are two poses. They are a bit over ornate. They're kind of massive. I much prefer the plastic ones, but they're not bad. And if you wanted one to be a captain, or if you just wanted 1 or 2, you might want to get hold of one of them, and they've got a look to them, and they look more in keeping with the Foot Black Numenorians. If you like them, then you might want these as your knights. But in general, I'd go with the plastics. I will go with the plastics. Most people go with the plastics. And I think that's everything. Put in comments if I forgot anything important in Mordor. We can discuss it in comments then. We did it. Thanks for watching. Big shout out to my Patreons and my Thursday night stream crew. Hope you guys are having a good summer or a good winter in the Southern Hemisphere. See you soon. Bye.